And I just tried to overlook the fact that in terms of theory, it wasn't very good to me. And just recognizing that like listeners don't care about theory, just try to hear it from their perspective. Musically, this is a song that I just didn't want to overthink. I just wanted to write the kind of riffs that I'm happy to jam on in my living room, but I never think like, that's song worthy. But this is one that like I kept coming back to, and just the fact that I kept coming back to it made me decide it was song worthy, not that I thought it was anything special.
Bo told me he was kind of just picking around on his acoustic guitar and ended up playing something he thought like Damien Rice would play. And so that was actually the original demo title for this song, was Damien Rice.
It starts out slow, no drums in the first verse, chorus, then pretty slow drums, and then like the bridge or whatever interlude after that. The tom part's pretty fun. That was kind of a blur coming up with that. It was like hour 10 of recording, and we ran through this song really fast. I don't even really remember doing it, but I like the way it turned out.
The keys part for this song on the chorus was kind of a nice departure from the rest of the album, because we used the actual piano tones. That's how I was trained, just doing piano lessons or whatever. So it was fun to kind of go back to those roots and not necessarily play rock and roll, but just play something that's kind of pretty, and it was fun for me.
And in our minds, your hand folds into mine.
Lyrically, this song is kind of my really wimpy attempt at a love song, because I don't really know how to write those. I just don't, and I don't understand why. And I just feel like any sort of like earthly comforting thoughts that I can give Jen are really kind of hollow and meaningless at the end of the day, and that if I wanted to tell her something comforting, it would have to be of eternal weight. And I feel like the lyrics reflect that. This song is sort of the flip side of Nowhere No One in terms of cycles and things of that nature. And this one is more about the cyclical nature of our dancing back and forth between vice and virtue, more or less. Truth be told, this is super trippy. These were the first lyrics I wrote of the album. And that summer, which I think would be the summer of 18, I would just go out to my hammock in between two trees and listen to the breeze blow through the corn. And I would just sit there, and it was such a great time in my life, because it was like, if I get no lyrics written, I just decompressed for an hour or two, which is something like I would not set aside time for, but it was so restful and rewarding. And I remember just laying in the hammock and looking up at the sky, and for some reason when I begin something, my thoughts are always like way too large in scope, so I'm just thinking of like history and mankind and just really huge abstract concepts, instead of like, boy, Jen sure is nice, I sure like being with her. It's just not, I don't know, that's just not how I roll. And I remember just like looking up at the sky and thinking about history and how I just have this conviction that everything's cyclical. And like, it's not like it was a vision or anything trippy like that. It's just like, as you daydream, like you know that you're not seeing these things, but you can picture them. I was just like picturing this giant clock in the sky, and that every interaction we have is just like a new gear in this clock, where it's like, do I get groceries today or do I get them tomorrow? And like, Do I read for 15 minutes? Do I read for 10 minutes? Am I going to leave at 9:30? Am I going to leave at 9:20? And all of these little decisions are just like a new gear that interacts with another gear, and like all of our relationships and who we bump into when, strangers or people we know. And it just felt like this enormous clock that's been set in motion until it stopped. I don't know. I know it sounds super trippy. It made sense to me at the time, and I think that's why I started getting on this theme of cycles and things like that, and why it spilled over into Nowhere, No One, and honestly probably spilled over into some other song I'm not thinking of at the moment, but that's how it came about.